Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to a reaction video. Yeah, you might have seen it coming. I'm gonna be reacting to JJ Plagiarism's Obi-Wan Kenobi review. It's not gonna be all in one video because this thing's long. I've cut out the little beginning part because okay, I'm not gonna agree with probably any of his opinions, but I like when the opinions differ. I like when I'm like reacting to like ranking videos, so I can just talk about more about the thing than reacting to, and that more of the material. I just like these kind of things, okay. And I don't like JD plagiarisms as a creator, so it's fun for me to complain, isn't it? Let's go. And you have to like the plastered copyright is a bitch all over the screen, really.
Show starts with a 4-minute recap summarizing the entire prequels and specifically Obi-Wan's arc. It feels exactly like fan service, and I almost imagine
Why?
they did this.
What? It's just cool recap. What do you mean? Shows have recaps. What? Why? What? How is? Whatever, man. Okay. Great. It's just a cool recap, okay? I thought it was really cool that they just had a nice recap, okay? But JJ Plagiarism was no, I didn't like it. No. I feel like nothing Disney can do can ever please this guy. Like nothing. I don't think he likes any of the Disney stuff. Anything. Honestly.
Cushion the blow that this show is going to do to continuity. Believe me, judging this by just the premiere and none of the other episodes, and we've got problems. Anyways, let's just forget that the recap exists. I only know they did it to get you hyped. So let's see what the actual show is like. Well, they start with something I didn't see any point to. The Order 66 sequence. We already saw this in the recap, and I don't care if it's setting up Reva's third sister arc. Obi-Wan explains later in the episodes that Inquisitors are former Jedi. Of course, this lines up with the leaks about, well, we'll get to that. Yeah, I read the leaks. Why? So I don't get any shitty surprises. This stuff doesn't add anything new to Order 66.
What do you mean? I don't understand reading the leaks. I didn't want to, just because, I don't know, I wanted to at least, I don't want to know what's going on in the story before I go to see it, okay? That's just going to take out of the surprise, okay? I like being surprised in stories, that's cool, okay? Although some of the shows plot twist, like the big plot, one of the big plot twists in episode 5 was the Grand Inquisitor coming back. At least it kind of felt like a plot twist, but like, Rebels exists. Okay, everybody knows it, and even if you didn't see Rebels, the internet probably spoiled it already, so yeah, Rebels is a thing. We all knew the Grand Inquisitor was going to come back. Yeah, but I like the scene. Okay, it's kind of cool seeing the Jedi Temple again, seeing Order 66 and stuff. Okay, seeing the younglings go through. It's just cool. Okay, I like it. Okay, I don't care. I'm not a pessimist. Okay, I'm not. I'm just. I struggle to speak sometimes. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay.
I guess it is nice having more Order 66 footage for any meme makers, and it was certainly better than Grogu's flashback. I guess the repeat...
What was better than Grogu's flashback? What was wrong with that? What? Oh, man. The only thing wrong with that is that was in the Book of Boba Fett, and it definitely should have been in Mando Season 3. Still angry about that, by the way. We should have seen everything that went on with Mando and Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett in Mando Season 3. Okay, what they should have done even is just make Book of Boba Fett 5 episodes. I don't really care. It move that into Mando Season 3. Okay, maybe you could even have an extra season of Mando. Okay, maybe, yeah, sure, make it longer. Make Mando go maybe a whole season without Grogu. Maybe we can even have like a whole episode for Grogu to himself, and just maybe have Mando even a cameo in that. It would be better than what went on in Book of Boba Fett, where Boba didn't even appear in episode 5 of that show. That was just kind of stupid, to be honest. I know I'm rambling right now, but at least when in Mando Season 3, Grogu is basically the second main character, so it'd be alright. I'm rambling, man.
Execute Order 66 was a nice touch, but it's only a touch. A faint touch. Anyways, the actual story starts not with Obi-Wan, but with the Inquisitors landing on Tatooine. We all see that dreaded Grand Inquisitor redesign for live action.
Yeah, I admit it. It's not great. They really were cheap with that, man. Like, come on, man. Like, we saw the Utapau and species on Utapau, okay? I understand. And with the Cad Bane, this thing, I thought he was ugly at first, but I'm going to like him, his design. Okay, number one, it's like it's Tatooine's like a brighter setting, and he's gotten really gotten older and stuff. And there's stuff that makes it okay that Cad Bane's design was different. Okay, but no, no.
Iron Inquisitor made a video
Oh,
expressing
the fifth brother. Oh my god, I hate the design spell. Why?
they butchered his design, and it looks like crappy cosplay. And on top of that,
does,
the
actually.
actor who plays the Grand Inquisitor in this show, who should have just been Jason Isaacs, said how he didn't watch Rebels because he quote-unquote wanted to give a unique performance.
Brave, but foolish, I old.
Yeah, you probably should have. I think when you go into a new reality, you probably should watch the previous anything that the character's been in previously. Okay, like Brave for Foolish. Okay, he's making some good points so far. Okay, although I don't like his attitude. Okay, I just don't like it. I'm really angry all the time. But okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, okay, in a way it kind of makes sense. He wants to put on his own performance, but you need to watch Rebels to see what the character is like, the personality of the character, okay? I understand that. So I haven't seen that much of Rebels, so I don't really know what the Grand Inquisitor was kind of like. Like, I've seen a bit of scenes, but I can't really judge, to be honest. I'm not an expert on Rebels stuff. You know, I've seen the important stuff. I've seen the Season 2 finale and then the episode with Obi-Wan and Maul, of course.
My friend.
So yeah, the Grand Inquisitor's design sucks. He was poorly adapted to live action. Why is it so hard for them to get something right? We, the audience, immediately notice the problems. How could this have passed? Anyways, accompanied by the fifth brother, who does nothing except be a shitty sidekick, and the third sister, Reva, played by one Moses Ingram, whose character I don't like. Yeah, Disney knew the character wouldn't be good, hence why they tried cushioning it by saying there would be racist fans. Well, I'm here to spin that classic cheap shot on its head. I think the Empire is way too diverse in this show. And I don't mean that in a racist way. You see, in the original trilogy, the Galactic Empire was made up of white men, and you can bet your asses that was intentional, because the Empire is supposed to be fascist and oppressive, and the command structure would reflect a rigid hierarchy. You look at the Rebel Alliance, and there's black people, women, and alien races. But with Disney shit in general, they seem to have missed that. By making the Empire more diverse, it just takes me out of the story, because I
Wait, take it out of the story. Okay. Now you've lost me. I understand that, and I do understand that. Maybe you are making sense now. Okay, the Empire's supposed to be evil. They're supposed to have just white men everywhere, and that actually kind of makes sense. But I don't understand how I could take it out of the story. Okay, Disney kind of missed that. Yeah, okay, I understand, but I'm alright with it. Maybe at the start, Empire was kind of more diverse, but then it kind of became just a fascist regime of just white dudes all over the place. Okay, I understand that. I understand that criticism. But I don't know how that can take it out of the story, man. Just shut the hell up.
subconsciously realize that it's out of place. Yeah, sure, the Empire has a few diverse people, like Grand Admiral Thrawn, but that's an exception rather than the rule. And the Thrawn trilogy points that out. So yeah, it's not comparable. I don't know what you're trying to demonstrate by having a black woman be the secondary antagonist anyways, because it doesn't fit at all. And I'm not criticizing it because I'm racist and I think black people are the N-word. It's actually the opposite. So anyways, the Inquisitors show up, and they march across the town and...
I don't know, I'm not an expert. Is it the opposite? I don't know. It's just kind of confusing to me. I'll just move on.
everyone stares at them as they walk into a bar and confront the owner. The Grand Inquisitor does a monologue about the Jedi, and it's a very big exposition dump. It seems like a very clunky way of setting up the story, because the Grand Inquisitor is basically setting up why they are here. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who didn't watch Rebels who are watching this, but it's still an exposition dump. I mean, they tried to build tension as the Jedi is about to be uncovered. They didn't do a good job, alright? Believe me. I would love to be lenient, but it's just so questionable. The Grand Inquisitor, I think, should have been way more imposing than this, but then again, it's hard to take him seriously with that crappy cosplay made in China. So the third sister throws a knife at the owner, and the Jedi in question stops the knife in its tracks and runs off. And I guess this is done to establish the reckless nature of the third sister. As the Jedi gets away, and it's her fault, the Grand Inquisitor speaks to her, and it's revealed that she has an obsession with capturing Kenobi to gain favor with Vader. Gee, that almost rhymed. This is the start of why I don't like Reva. She comes across as some snarky bitch. The Grand Inquisitor tells her that he will not warn her again. Stop thinking about Kenobi. Keep that in mind for later. Also, I have no idea why the Grand Inquisitor puts up with this bitch. Like, seriously, where's the discipline? The Vader comics, I hear, did this way better with the Inquisitors. But anyways, we finally get introduced to Obi-Wan, as he's working with a...
Reva's alright. Okay, I like her later on. The story, definitely. But she's alright. I know, yeah, she's fine. Okay.
bunch of other guys to siphon meat from a dead whale or something. I don't know why a whale would be in the fucking desert, but whatever. I'm also going to assume that this whale died very recently.
Why would a dead whale be in the desert? And it probably wasn't a whale, but it was some sort of creature. Whatever, man. The Obi-Wan's life here is actually pretty depressing, though. I just kind of like how he was, going about his day all the time, just kind of the same, and it's depressing. Please don't be criticizing this. Please don't. Praise. Come on, man.
Because it was there for a few days, it would have dried up. Our first introduction with Kenobi is him watching another guy get pushed around by the employer when he isn't given what he's promised, and Kenobi, because he's in hiding, doesn't do anything. I was half expecting Kenobi to give the guy his payment, but I suppose the series has better things to show, allegedly. Kenobi then goes back to the town, gives his animals some food, and then rides it back to his place. I don't know if his house hasn't been built yet, but what the fuck is this? Kenobi didn't live in a cave, I don't think. Some Jawas show up to sell Kenobi some stuff.
Bro, look, he has his old job. He can't afford the house yet, okay, man? He just can't afford it, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, there's homeless people on Earth. Obi-Wan is basically homeless. Shut up. Come on, he just hasn't got the house yet. Although I don't know why they showed him being homeless. Like maybe it's different.
Scene doesn't do much, except establish how Obi-Wan can tell that Jawas are stealing from him and are also buying something that he will try to give to Luke. Next, we've got a dream sequence in him waking up and trying to speak to Qui-Gon, but there's no response. I found this opening sequence for Kenobi really dull, because it just feels like boxes being ticked. Also, I read the Marvel Star Wars comic issues that detail Kenobi's life.
Come on, man. That's like that's like the whole prequel trilogy. Oh, yeah. Anakin turning to the dark side, blah, blah, blah. Palpatine in his face, Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, come on, man. Shut up. Just shut up. Stop whacking out excuses. Just shut the hell up and have fun with something for once. Jesus Christ, such a bloody pessimist. Anyway, let's move on.
On Tatooine, years after Revenge of the Sith, and would canonically take place before the Kenobi show. They seem to have copied a lot of stuff from the comics, and at the same time contradict them. Like, Kenobi's hut, for one, is nowhere to be seen. Instead, he lives in a cave and we see him use a lightsaber, when the show has the lightsabers buried away. I mean, there's nothing overtly broken continuity-wise.
Why would he... okay. Like, why would he keep the lightsabers, though? Okay, he doesn't want anyone to find them, okay? Like, just in case someone came and searched his cave, or maybe the Empire was there, they could potentially find the lightsabers. They're probably not gonna bury underground somewhere to find the lightsabers. Okay, maybe someone might eventually find them, but then again, they won't know it's Obi-Wan, so it's kind of fine. Okay, and also Obi-Wan doesn't really think he's gonna use the lightsaber. He's not really in touch with the Force. I mean, after the show, I think he keeps him in a safe place, maybe around his hut when eventually gets his little house. Because he's kind of more in touch with the Force. Maybe he's more confident in using the lightsaber and stuff like that. So yeah, that's your answer solved. I'm sorry.
And the Kenobi show has very iffy continuity, continuing the trend of Disney disregarding their own continuity when they want to tell a different story. Funny enough, the comic also had Obi-Wan and Black Chrysanthemum fight, proving once again in regards to my bait of Bobby Fat review that they were just cherry-picking stuff from the comics. But the series contradicting the comics are the least of the problems this show has in regards to continuity. Obi-Wan gets up and goes over to the Lars homestead to watch Luke. Nothing wrong here, before bringing the toy he bought for Luke out by the door of the Lars homestead. While riding back, that Jedi from earlier tries talking to Obi-Wan. He pleads him for help, and Obi-Wan at first deflects him and tells him he's got the wrong guy. Since this guy won't piss off, Obi-Wan tells him to bury his lightsaber somewhere and live a normal life. To describe this sequence, I don't actually have a lot of complaints. Obi-Wan is doing the smart thing and what he should be doing in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, but later the scene will become absolutely meaningless. We later cut to bright white scenery as a girl is being dressed. As I pretty much thought the first time, we're on Alderaan for some reason. Breha Organa, Leia's adopted mother, shows up, and when she realizes one of her friends is posing as Leia, we cut to Leia out in the woods and exploring and shit. Given they're structuring the show like this, you can tell right off the bat that Leia will play a pivotal role in this show. And I'm like, what? Where are they going with this? Also, I thought Leia in this show was a little young. The actress would have been around 8 years old when this was filmed. I checked. And I suppose the child actress who played Leia isn't...
Whatever. Star Wars aging is never really be that good. Like, you see, for instance, like, Fennec Shand, she's in the Bad Batch, like, immediately after episode 3. She looks about the same as she does in the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian and stuff, which takes place... Let me think... at the least, probably like 27 years later. That's insane. So, just whatever. I think she looks around like 10, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Whatever. She looks a little bit younger than she does. Oh my god. What? What the hell? No! Calm down, man. It doesn't take me out of the story, okay?
Terrible, I suppose. She's this rebellious, adventure-hungry girl, and I didn't find her overly annoying, at least at first, which was surprising. Given what happens in the show, I do suspect Leia is supposed to be the kid appeal character, just like Grogu or Omega, but it's way more naturally woven in than either of those two, and it was interesting showing the roots of Leia before A New Hope.
I do think that Disney is going a little bit too overboard in, like, a character, kind of a more grown-up character, kind of a cool character that we all, so like that, okay. A character, has gone on an adventure, and then they have this, like, little sidekick, kind of, like, as a younger, like, a kid or like a baby or something. We've done with Mando and Grogu, Hunter and Omega, and now Obi-Wan and Leia. Whatever. I don't feel like it's the same idea as carried over, but in a way, I kind of feel like they are different in a way, and whatever. I don't really mind, but I feel like they've gone a little bit too overboard on it. Hopefully, probably Cassian Andor doesn't get like a bloody boy on the side going around with him all the time. That'd be annoying. Oh.
Might be one of the better kid appeal characters Disney has ever written. So anyways, back to Kenobi's daily routine. He siphons some meat, goes back to town, which, by the way, the Kenobi comics also had Kenobi decide not to go back into town, so why he's going into town makes no sense, but regardless, Owen shows up and throws the bag back at him. And this scene is where Obi-Wan and Owen argue. As expected, Owen holds a grudge against Obi-Wan, saying that Anakin is dead because of him. A very similar scene happened in the comics, and it's structured in the exact same way, except it happens at Kenobi's house, not in the town. Owen and Obi-Wan argue back and forth, and I suppose it's character consistency to have Owen resent Kenobi, and he has the same attitude he had towards Luke in A New Hope, trying to seclude him from the galaxy and whatnot, and being generally discouraging, all with the intention of keeping him safe. Not a bad exchange between the two characters. It's ripped straight from the comics, so it's probably not original, but still.
Whatever, I guess they will rip stuff from the comics and stuff, and I can't criticize that because I haven't read the comics. Okay, I don't, whatever. I'm a child. I don't have the money to just spend on all these comics and stuff. I just watch the new stuff that's like stuff, and I don't know. Especially when it comes to books, I don't want to read those. They're boring. They have loads of words. much rather actually watch like a movie or something, or even read a comic.
So then the Inquisitors show up and start questioning everyone. The fifth brother and the third sister, and we see even more that the third sister just sucks. She announces that hands go off first, and after a woman talks back and, I can't believe I'm saying this, Reva cuts off her hand. Gee, a severed limb. I was waiting so fucking long for Disney to stop being such pussies and embrace lightsabers, and they finally did it. Shame it's not at all impactful like all the other scenes in the other movies showcasing this shit. Anyways, Reva, after picking out Owen, decides to hold him hostage, demanding that the Jedi be given up or he dies. Before the fifth brother tells her to stop, and it leads to another chat about the third sister being impulsive and shit. Yeah, I can tell. With that being said, they leave, and Obi-Wan thanks Owen, and Owen just says, I didn't do it for you. And then we cut back to Alderaan, where Leia and her family are at a party or something. We don't have much context, and Leia's cousin starts talking shit about how she's not a real Organa. Yeah, they're very, very close to doing a you're adopted joke. Wow. This is something I don't like. They're making it no secret that Leia is adopted. And I think at this point, Leia knows that for some reason. Based on the conversation she and Luke has in Return of the Jedi, I think this is very iffy continuity. This causes her adopted parents to talk to Leia and try to get her to apologize to her cousin. And it leads to Leia running out of the woods, unfazed. There's a bunch of kidnappers who show up. You know, something else I started to question.
You can complain about this part about Leia is able to run away from kidnappers. That was stupid. They should have caught up with her immediately, man.
Is where are the guards? Why is no one stopping her from getting out of the woods? It's utter nonsense. Especially when these guys who look like they belong in Breaking Bad try kidnapping her. And she's captured. It's around here that everyone realizes this is the catalyst for Obi-Wan's adventure. And to be honest, it's probably the best one they could have cooked up, maybe. So basically, Kenobi's still chilling on Tatooine, gets a message from Bail and his wife, asking him to go get Leia from the kidnappers. Of course, we can visually tell that Obi-Wan doesn't want to. And speaking of, Ewan McGregor's portrayal as Ben Kenobi is one of the few great things about this show. Ewan McGregor, I feel, is still the same old Kenobi we know from the prequel trilogy.
Yes.
With the difference being that there's nothing with George Lucas written on it, but still, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of quotable lines from Obi-Wan in this show in the following years. Kenobi goes into town and witnesses the Jedi from earlier being strung up for all the town to see. He's been caught and his life taken. This really isn't as sad as it could have been, and this Jedi, to be honest, has mostly felt like an excuse to have the Inquisitors on Tatooine to set shit up. So I kinda suspect that Jedi was nothing more than a plot device to get the story going. Also, it probably would have been a more impactful sight if he was hung by the neck instead of having his body strung up. It's the little details that make all the difference. But point being, Kenobi returns to his cave only to meet Bail Organa, who tries to ask him again to help save Leia. Obi-Wan, of course, refuses, telling Bail his responsibility is to the boy. But Bail still tries to get him to save Leia. He begs and pleads, and after a little while, Kenobi decides to break continuity and go get Leia. They're not actually going to have the two interact, because that will be a whole embarrassing continuity mess in of itself.
It's fixed in episode 6, man. Okay, you know what? Okay. Please don't complain about this too much. Please don't. Please. Continuity is the most important thing. They were making a big risk with doing that. Okay, but I think it worked out in the end.
Obviously was so rigid in doing his duty that I don't believe that he would so easily stop watching Luke. It would take more than a come on from Bail to convince Obi-Wan to go on this potentially dangerous mission and expose his identity to the Empire. Plus, Leia refers to Obi-Wan as if she has not met him in A New Hope. Continuity broken. So with that being said, Obi-Wan decides he will go and get Leia, going to the spot where he buried the lightsabers, which, again, the comics already showed that he still had it on him. But anyways, he gets his lightsaber, and since Bail told him that she was headed for Daiyu, he gets a ticket off-world, and that's the end of the first episode. Gee, we're only up to the start of part 2, and they've broken so much shit. Very inspiring, isn't it? So with that being said, can the next episode do better? Not really. The start of episode 2 isn't actually half bad. Obi-Wan poses as a dude looking for his daughter in the system, and he's told that there's no way he'll find her. And huge credit where it's due, the incredible Clone Trooper cameo, played by Tamara Morrison, which...
Yeah, man, I'm so glad Tamara Morrison had a role in the show, and he's going to be voicing some characters in video games soon, which is, that's cool, man. Hopefully he can also maybe voice, like, clones, or, you know, like Boba or Jango Fett, you know, in future Star Wars shows as well. That'd be kind of cool. And of course, you know, he's probably going to be appearing in Mando Season 3, just because I'm pretty sure Boba's probably going to make maybe an appearance in one of the episodes. I'd say so. He had a pretty good role in Mando Season 2, so I'd say it's a pretty safe bet. You know, he's Tamara Morrison's back, you know, did stuff for Disney and stuff like that, so it's likely that we're going to see him, you know, maybe even some other Star Wars projects as well. It's going to be pretty awesome. Could even appear in Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Certainly made up for the bait of Bobby Fett. Seriously, Tamara Morrison's surprising cameo was very surprising, unlike The Mandalorian Season 2, and it was symbolically important, reflective of clone troopers being disposed of after Revenge of the Sith. With little dialogue said, the clone trooper asks Obi-Wan to help get a veteran a warm meal, and Obi-Wan gives him some money. I wonder what it was like for Ewan and Tem to work on screen together again since Revenge of the Sith for this one cameo. The only issue I see with this part is the age of the clone trooper, who would canonically be 46 if he was a first batch clone trooper. But then I realized, oh wait, it's probably accelerated aging. You got me there, Disney. Plus, it was more effective seeing an old, out-of-shape clone begging on the streets anyways. Appearances can make for good presentation, along with good writing. This cameo may be the highlight of the show, ironically. Yeah, because the show begins to decline again relatively quickly. Obi-Wan asks a young woman how to find his daughter, and she just gives him some drugs for free, which it is kind of hard to believe because nobody in the real world gives away drugs for free, even if it is the first hit. Then a kid walks up and says there's a Jedi on the planet that helps people, and I gotta say, the next scene after that is actually pretty good.
Yeah, but when I was going to the scene, I didn't really want. I was actually kind of annoyed because I was thinking, yeah, we're seeing a little bit too much Jedi. The Jedi are supposed to be extinct, and we're seeing our third one in episode 2. Like, come on, man! Like, we can't have that much Jedi. But luckily, this guy isn't an actual Jedi, and I was really glad to see that. I kind of like how he's kind of scamming people.
That, I promise it goes downhill. We're introduced to this guy who I originally assumed was more ethnic diversity, who ended up being a decent supporting character. That being Haja Estri, a rip-off artist who took cues from me and decided to pose as a Jedi, rip people off and get paid for it. We see this guy rip off a woman and her son by pretending to do Jedi powers in a mind trick, and then telling the both of them they can go to a certain gate. Obi-Wan comes in and sees the facade, and as expected, pulls off his magnets. Despite being scum, the scam artist has some amusing dialogue. Even though it's just a supporting role, the actor really got into his character. This might be one of the best supporting characters in a Disney Star Wars story ever, funny enough. Obi-Wan holds a blaster to him, and as well as that, demands that he help him or he gets a blaster to the back. Nice to see Obi-Wan isn't a pushover. So the scam artist tells him to go to a certain place, and Obi-Wan disguises himself as a worker, and we get our first taste of the choreography when two guards confront him. Looking at the choreography, the fighting feels too planned out. Looking at the fight in greater detail, it's like the actor had cues to fulfill, like block, punch, kick, block, uppercut, twist, if that makes sense. There's a pause as if it feels like someone off-screen is giving instructions for different moves. Sounds about right. At least it looks like an actual...
Is this an action scene? Are you just like pausing everybody's scene? Are you just like taking so long to like examine this scene? You're just trying to pick problems out of it. I didn't really see anything wrong with this, okay? I was thinking people as well talking about the sequel trilogy, Lightsaber Duels, and how the choreography wasn't really that great. And like, that doesn't really take out the enjoyment. Sure, they probably should have got the choreography a little bit better in the sequels and all that. And, you know, but I don't really think it doesn't really matter, okay? Does it? I don't think it matters, okay? So, shut up.
act rather than the sloppy and retarded choreography of The Last Jedi. Still, this fight feels like there's a lot of cues being given. So with that being said, Obi-Wan gets into a trap when he thinks he's found Leia, but it's just a decoy and he's restrained by the thugs. After a bit of cliche-sounding banter we usually hear when a character captures another and is smug about it, Obi-Wan throws the drug he got from earlier in the ground and knocks the guys out. From there, he finds Leia and escorts her out. Now, Leia in this episode is a hindering nuisance. She can't shut her mouth when she would obviously need to, and keeps asking Obi-Wan to do shit he couldn't do. But worse yet, it's a damn continuity issue. Leia speaks of Obi-Wan in A New Hope as if she's never met him. And no, the Ben excuse isn't going to cut it, because I don't see how Leia wouldn't put 2 and 2 together at that point. And that's all you need to see, that continuity is being discarded. What this show does is ignore what's said or even implied that was obviously the case and change it for their narrative. I hate this. It's not even attempting to cover up the plot hole. They're just ignoring continuity. So with that being said, Kenobi tries to sneak Leia around, and Leia just doesn't keep her mouth shut. Afterwards, we cut to a scene of the Grand Inquisitor getting angry at Reva for obvious reasons. Kidnapping an Imperial Senator's daughter. Like she's allowed to do that without repercussions. So what punishment does Reva get for being careless?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that line from episode 1 where the Grand Inquisitor warns Reva not to fixate on Kenobi results in essentially nothing. What a pushover. And for some reason,
I probably should have gotten some sort of punishment. I don't know. They probably should have. I mean, they're kind of just lazy, just like, let it go, whatever. They're supposed to be the villains. Like, come on, yeah. See, I do understand. Some of the problems, they are actual problems, okay? Obi-Wan Kenobi is not perfect. I never said it was perfect. I don't really, not really a big enjoyer of episode 4 of the show. And even this episode, so, yeah, it's not the best, okay? But whatever. JJ plagiarisms, as always, is being way too harsh. As always.
The Grand Inquisitor orders for Kenobi to be found. He just walks away from Reva, who has gotten no penalty. And with that, he's essentially a pushover and a dumbass. And so Reva, facing no imprisonment, immediately puts a bounty on Kenobi. We see that aliens like Crocodile Dundee arm themselves in search of Kenobi.
What is he doing?
With that, Kenobi brings Leia along, who
He's a dinosaur, what the hell? We're in Jurassic Park now.
getting annoying, and also proclaims his Jedi identity in front of a huge crowd, and eventually Leia sees the wanted holo photo and concludes that Obi-Wan is lying and in fact the real kidnapper. Obi-Wan doesn't explain that the wanted hologram is because the city is looking for him, because he's a Jedi, and Leia runs off. So Obi-Wan has to chase Leia to the top of a building, where Crocodile Dundee and some other aliens are shooting at him. Meanwhile, the third sister is tracking their position with the gunfire. So Leia jumps off like a dumbass and almost falls to her death. And oh, that's why they had Leia run off. It's so they could have a scene where Obi-Wan needs to tap into the Force again. Obi-Wan struggles to use the Force, and I really didn't feel the tension it was trying to convey. Maybe it was because I was taken out of the story, and I saw a scene like this coming from a mile away. But Obi-Wan manages to save Leia.
It's actually kind of like the scene in Jedi Fallen Order when Kyle uses the Force to slow down Prof, is that his name? Prof? From Falling Down? It kind of feels like that scene. And similar to Jedi Fallen Order. There's a good amount of them in this show.
Leaves him and he says he's a Jedi at last. So anyways, looking for a way off-world, the scam artist shows up and offers him help. Go to an automated transport that's your passage off-world. So Obi-Wan, with no other choice, decides to go there, as it's his only hope of escaping the planet. And then the third sister comes across the scam artist, who planned to distract her, and very easily force probes him. Yeah, Kylo Ren was a pussy, wasn't he? And she lets him live for some reason. Anyhow, Obi-Wan and Leia are close to escaping, and they talk a bit about stuff that they shouldn't be talking about, like Leia's real mother, which is bending so much continuity at this point, it's not even funny. Reva shows up and demonstrates how she's the worst antagonist ever. All she does is taunt Obi-Wan and be a strong female antagonist. I just hate it. And what do you know? They break even more continuity by having Reva taunt Obi-Wan, who is hiding from her, and she reveals that Lord Vader will want him and that Anakin is still alive. No joke. She legit knows that Vader is Anakin Skywalker. How? Very few
You ask me these questions,
were
we
privy
have
to...
the final episode. What? Come on, man. Are you making this all at once? Or are you like recording this after episode 2 was released? Why are you uploading this all at once, man? I have so much questions. I don't know.
Darth Vader's former secret identity. I don't imagine that the worst of the Inquisitors will be privy to that secret. And yeah, I'll talk about episode 5 when we get to it. Plus, I don't understand how Obi-Wan would not know Anakin was still alive. Wouldn't he have heard of the exploits of the brutal Darth Vader by now and realized that his apprentice was still alive out there? This doesn't make any sense. This was all done for dramatic effect and it doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, the Grand Inquisitor show...
I don't know. I really don't think it's had a really that connected to the Empire. Maybe he just doesn't know. And he's cutting himself off from the Force and stuff. And I don't know. Maybe deep down he really did know that Vader was alive. He was just trying to suppress it. He was just trying to deny it. But now, after Reva told him, he had to come into terms with it now.
Up. And after some arguing that gives Obi-Wan the time to escape, I wish I was kidding here, but the third sister straight up stabs the Grand Inquisitor. Well, that's a definite pushover right there. Of course, immediately, it gave the impression that he died. Obviously, he can't be dead.
Yeah.
Unless they're retconning Rebels, which I wouldn't actually be surprised if they did. But regardless, it's such a shitty part of the show. Again, we'll talk about this in episode 5. It makes the third sister come across as even more pretentious and unlikable as a villain. So with the Grand Inquisitor potentially murdered, Kenobi and Leia escape. And as we get close to the dreaded you-know-what, Obi-Wan says Anakin's name, and we cut to fucking Darth Vader in the back to tank. Oh no. This is going to be a code red emergency. Let's move on to the next episode. So the next episode...
Okay, that's where I'm going to end it off here, guys. This video is already 36 minutes long. I'll do part 2 and maybe next week. I'm reacting to this. Gotta do it all at once, guys, okay? I don't want this reaction video to be like 2 hours long. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. I'll see you next time. F you, JJ Plagiarism.